Hi, good day to everyone. Thank you for clicking on the video. And today we'll talk about Article 1 of the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Again, this video is about Article 1 of the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. I have a link on the description below. I made a video on explaining the procedure or how the trial will happen at the Senate of the Philippines. So please, if you have a chance, click on that video link. All right. Now, let's cut down to the bones. Let's cut down to the first article. It's Article 1. Now, Article 1 of the impeachment complaint is basically that Sara Duterte, by her own admission, had hired or had talked to a hitman stating that if she is unalived, the hitman is instructed to finish the task against the president, the first lady, and the speaker of the house. Now, I did not say things I didn't use certain terms because I don't want this video to be flagged. So again, according to her statements in her live broadcast, the vice president uttered a statement, said a statement, or manifested that she gave instructions to a person to unalive the president, the first lady, and the speaker of the house if she gets unalived. Right? So that's what is the basis for Article 1. Now, according to the impeachment provision on Article 11 of the Philippine Constitution, the Vice President can be impeached or removed from office for certain acts. And one of them is you violated the culpable violation of the Constitution, committing high crimes, betrayal of public trust, and committing acts of graft and corruption. These are basically the impeachment articles against Vice President Sara Duterte. And again, Article 1 says that she hired a hitman. Now, is hiring a hitman or talking to a hitman a crime by itself? Now, of course, as a lawyer, you do a lot of research. And upon my research, I figured out that the contract to unalive someone is a crime but not listed as a crime itself under the revised penal code. Now, there are several crimes that could be linked to that or could be related to hiring a hitman. Now, one of them is Article 282 of the revised penal code, or grave threat, meaning the grave threat is already a crime under the revised penal code. Is it a high crime? Well, the threat was against the highest official of the Philippines, the president of our country, at the same time, his spouse. What is grave threats? Let's look. Under Article 282 of the revised penal code, grave threats is that when a person threatens another with the infliction upon that person, honor or property or of his family amounting to a crime. So when you made a manifestation that you hired a hitman, that is a threat that a crime will be committed by or against the person subject of that threat, which is the President of the Philippines. Another crime under the Article 1 is also murder. But when murder happens, there must be certain elements related to that manifestation that Sara Duterte hired a hitman. Now, how do we explain this? Okay, I'm not going to list the actual elements of murder in general, but I will put together what could be the act of hiring the hitman. Now, murder under this case is when there's an intent to kill with the circumstance, with the aid of armed men, and in consideration of a price, reward, or promise. So meaning the hiring of the hitman, the hiring of that person to unalive the president, is that you are committing in conspiracy. You are hiring somebody to unalive with the aid of armed men. So Vice President allegedly asked the aid of armed men, and they did that in consideration of money, reward, or promise. Now, another act that could be related to that Article 1 is Article 142 of the Revised Penal Code, that is inciting to sedition. Let me explain. According to Article 142 of the Revised Penal Code, inciting to sedition is without direct part into inciting others to the accomplishment by means of speech to commit acts to obstruct the lawful officer, this time the president, in executing the functions, and or it disturbs the safety and order of the government. So it's a bit strained, it's a bit stretched, but in a sense, if you threaten to unalive somebody, an official of the government, that is preventing that officer from committing or act in as president. Okay. Now, the last link I probably or could happen is that those threats could be linked to Republic Act 11479 or the Anti-Terrorism Act. According to Section 4 of that act, if anyone engages in acts intended to cause unalive or serious bodily harm to any person, the calling of the assassin could be counted as that. Okay, again, it's also stretching a bit, but I'm just giving you possible crimes or high crimes involved in hiring a hitman. Now, you must remember this is a trial, and the senators, as judges, must consider the evidence as presented by both sides and make a determination on whether the impeached officer, Vice President Sara Duterte, is guilty or not guilty, or more or less committed the acts itself. Because what's happening here is that in impeachment trial, you have to present a fact, and that fact is that Sara Duterte committed certain acts. Now, if it's been proven that those acts were committed by Sara Duterte, the judges here, the senators as judges, have to determine whether that is worthy of a guilty or not guilty. Now, under the rules of evidence for regular trials, there are two levels of evidence to consider. For criminal trials, it must be guilt beyond reasonable doubt, meaning presenting upon all the evidence, you cannot anymore question whether the person did it or not. Obviously, because of beyond reasonable doubt, the accused committed those acts. But in civil trials, where it's just basically just money, that's all after, or finding of liability, the level to consider somebody guilty or liable is what they call preponderance of evidence, wherein the evidence, where it is more leaning towards. Is it more leaning towards that the person committed the acts, or leaning towards that the person did not commit the acts or is not liable as claimed? All right. Now, I have other videos on Articles 2 to 7. I'll give links in the description below, and I hope you can pick up something from this. Good day, everyone. Hi. Please do me a favor and smash that like button. It'll help me a lot, and it will trigger the YouTube algorithm. Now, if you have not yet, please subscribe to my channel. If you don't, my dog will eat this exam booklet, and that student has to repeat his final exam again.